Hi everyone, my name's Dahlia. Today I'm doing a bit of a spontaneous review of Uprooted by Naomi Novik. I was not planning to review this book, but now I kind of want to, and so I have nothing planned to say, and so I don't know how this review is going to go, but the thing is I'm going to just try to keep it brief. Yeah. So this book is a fantasy book. I would probably wouldn't call it young adult. I think it would be more like new adult probably. Um, and it kind of has a Beauty and the Beast vibe. And I like initially I thought it was supposed to be like a Beauty and the Beast retelling, but like after like looking online, it's supposed to be like inspired from like folk tales of a sort. If you know like the specifics, you can like comment down and let me know. But it does have that Beauty and the Beast vibe. So it follows a girl named Agnieszka, and she lives in a small, quiet village, and it's one of many villages in this certain valley, and this valley is threatened by this force. It's like a forest kind of, and they call it the Wood, and it has like dark magic, it has corruption, and it's like an evil force, and they're not just like lovely trees, lovely critters and stuff. It's like creepy, eerie, and downright evil. And the Wood threatens these villages through certain means, like making the animals sick. Corrupting people, and by corrupting, it makes them sick. It gives them certain qualities that either kill them or turn them into completely something else. And so it's like just something very serious and threatening. And there is this one wizard who lives in a tower in this valley, and he is known as a dragon by the people of the valley. And he's the one who protects the valley from the Wood. But in return for protecting the valley, every 10 years a girl is sent up to live in his tower for the 10 years. And no one knows what happens to the girls throughout those 10 years. All they know is that whenever she returns back home, she's changed, she's very different, and then she just gets up and leaves the village and never returns again. So at the start of the book, it's about to be a new choosing ceremony because it's the start of a new decade, and so Agnieszka is one of the girls who is supposed to be at the choosing ceremony alongside her best friend Cassia, and everyone assumes that Cassia is going to be the one who's going to be chosen because she's like perfect in every way. She's beautiful, she's hardworking, she's caring, she does chores like, proper woman knows, like sewing and, cooking and all that. So everyone assumes that the dragon is going to select her to spend the 10 years in his tower. And, obviously, it even says in the blurb, like, but when the dragon comes, it is not Cassia he will choose. So obviously it's Agnieszka that he ends up choosing. And then that's the beginning of the story. That's like sort of like the groundwork, the premise. And so she's selected to be the girl who has to stay in the tower for 10 years, and she's worried, she's scared, she's not as brave as Cassia, at least that's what she thinks, and so she doesn't know why she's chosen. And yeah, so that's kind of just like the groundwork for this book. I actually was really surprised by how it turned out, because like going into it, I knew it was fantasy, and I knew that it had something to do with Beauty and the Beast, or at least like had like that vibe to it. But I was not expecting what I got, and that's actually a good thing. Like I didn't have like high or low expectations for this book, but it did pleasantly surprise me. I don't know, like Agnieszka's character was just super interesting to follow. She's clumsy. She has this knack of always being dirty and kind of messy. Her dress is always tattered. Like somehow she's always having accidents, and there's this like one disturbing part in the book where like, she like throws up, and it's just so like disgusting, and it's just like, why? Like, I don't know, but she's definitely not like your typical beauty, and so I don't know, that was interesting. But also she does kind of have this like fierceness to her. Even though she doesn't consider herself as brave as her best friend, she still has like guts to like stand up to the dragon in certain scenes, and she, you know, kind of rebels against him in her own little ways, which I found really cool. I mean, at least she's strong, but like in an untraditional way. And yeah, so that's her on her character. About the romance in this book, I was kind of confused. Like, I don't know, I wouldn't say it was like insta love. I had a feeling like, obviously, if it's like kind of has that Beauty and the Beast vibe, you know, you probably expect her and the dragon to fall in love. But the thing is, I didn't see it coming. Like, I didn't get any of the clues that led up to like their eventual romance. Maybe I just missed it, or maybe I wasn't looking for that, but it just seems suddenly like 1 minute like they're like not liking each other, and the next minute they're like making out, and I was like so confused. And so, I mean, I didn't hate it, I was just mostly confused, but I just kind of accepted it, like, okay, whatever. Maybe they had like this like chemistry that I missed or something. I mean, they did kind of have a chemistry. I won't say in what aspect, because then I'll spoil it, but yeah, I don't know, it was weird, definitely weird. And then the dragon is always like grumpy and rude to her. Like, he doesn't even show like he's kind in like a grumpy way. Like, at least he like takes care of her every time she gets hurt or whatever. And then he like shows her, you know, how to do magic, because that's the reason like he had to choose her. But yeah, I probably just spoiled it. I mean, there is magic in this book, and clearly you can like see her like, ooh, doing some little magic trick. But I would say like the magic kind of confused me too. It was unconventional. Like, you expect magic to have like rules and stuff, and it seems that it does have rules, and it makes perfect sense, like all the rules that are established in this book. But at the same time, it feels wild. And someone on Instagram told me, oh yeah, messy magic, as a way of describing it, and I thought that was like a perfect way of describing it, because like, even though like the author does establish some rules to the magic system in this book, it still feels very wild, very much like the wood itself, but more like an anti kind of wood kind of thing. I don't know if that makes sense, but yeah. This book was also like unexpectedly dark and creepy. Like, looking at this cover, you wouldn't expect this to be like a creepy book, but like it creeped me out more than a suspenseful supernatural horror story could. And I think it was just the wood and the descriptions of everything, and also like the graphicness of some scenes. I don't know. And then just the overall like vibe and like mood to the story was kind of like dark, kind of like a dark kind of fairy tale. But actually, I really like that aspect. I just like the mood of the story as a whole. It really worked, especially with the wood. Like, it was just, especially nearing like probably like the middle to the end, it was just downright creepy. Like, you wouldn't expect to be creeped out by like a group of trees with magic, but you'd be surprised. Like, this book makes you creeped out by the wood, the enemy and the foe of this story. But yeah, let's see, what other thoughts do I have? See, I'm telling you, this is a very spontaneous review, and I don't know if I'm doing a good job at this, but yeah, overall, I think the writing, like, I could talk about that. The writing was good most of the time. There were some parts though where it was kind of awkward, like the words were awkwardly phrased, and so it would kind of like take me out of the story. And I don't know if it's because the author was trying to like establish some sort of tone or the way people talked in this world, kind of like an old-fashioned kind of thing, but sometimes it just felt like she was trying too hard, and it just felt awkward, and I didn't like that. And I think like all those elements that I've talked about, like with the romance and then the magic and then the way the book was written, kind of took a star off my review on Goodreads. I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. But like, other than that, like, it was a really good book. Like, even the magic, even though you don't completely understand it, it's the kind of thing where you just follow and you just accept, and like, that's how it makes sense. You just go with the flow, and it works out. And Yeah, I don't know. I think I've just been used to like reading Brandon Sanderson, and so like Brandon Sanderson like draws out every single little detail about how like magic works in his book, and then here it's like wild and messy, and I think that's just why I wasn't accustomed to that. So I guess it just depends on who you are as a reader. Either way, if you are into like fairy tales, if you're into fantasy, if you're into you know, like a dark kind of a vibe into your in your fantasy, yeah, I think this would be a good book for you. I definitely recommend it, and I enjoyed it, and I would definitely want to reread it. And I'm glad I have it, so I could do that. And yeah, also the cover is really pretty. I wasn't expecting it to be this pretty, but it is, and I like that. So yeah, that's all. That's my review. Hope you enjoyed it. And if you have any thoughts on this book or any questions about it, then feel free to leave it in the comments. Thank you for watching. Bye.